Hello everyone, so today I wanted to talk about a mod for Empire Total War. Now for a long time now I've been talking about Rome Remastered mods and Rome Total War mods, and I just needed to break that up a bit because it was a lot about one game, right? So Empire Total War. A lot of you have seen my tier lists where, Empire is sort of relegated to mods only category. That is, it's not really that playable vanilla. And that's true. But there are some mods that are somewhat in the vanilla style that I think are still worth your time and perhaps might be some of the best mods for Empire. Now, I reviewed one such mod, The Rights of Man, last year. And I think that's one of my favorite mods for Empire. I enjoy it more than a lot of the heavier overhaul mods. But there is another mod that I think might be even better. And it's even more vanilla style, you might say. So this mod, it doesn't really change that much in terms of the style at all, the art style. There are some minor reskins and things to make things more realistic, but this mod is called Empire Realism for Empire Total War. And this mod is really cool in a lot of ways. So I guess I'll start a game here as perhaps Russia. Now this mod, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't change much in terms of the aesthetic or anything. And I think that's somewhat fine. It means that it is compatible with a lot of the other unit mods, ornamentum mods, the mods that make the units look really nice. And I think that's really cool because then you can kind of mix and match the mods you want to have in your game. Like I could have installed that Empire HD mod, but unfortunately it doesn't run that well on my system. So right now I actually do have a couple of aesthetic mods installed, including the historical portraits mod. And that is a mod I've talked about on the channel before. I really like it. I think it really adds a lot to the atmosphere of the game by removing the goofy Medieval 2 style portraits that I don't like. So this mod, as you can see, it has changed a lot in terms of the start positions and armies. So like instead of having the streltsy, the sort of volunteer infantry, you have Russian musketeers, provincial line infantry, Russian dragoons, and sakers. Right, and you also have access in other provinces to Cossack infantry. Right, and the other thing is that these irregular troops take one turn to recruit, and the more regular type troops take 2 turns to recruit. So the Cossacks are going to have lower morale, lower melee defense. However, they are going to be, they have slightly better accuracy, they have better melee attack, and they also take only 1 turn to recruit. But there is a cap on them, right? Now, I think Empire Realism does a really good job with its unit caps and with its recruitment times of really getting the player and the AI to create realistic armies, right? So that's something that oftentimes doesn't feel very good in Total War games like army composition. And I think Empire Realism does a really good job on that in terms of getting the player to make realistic armies. And everything has been rebalanced, including the tech tree and the buildings, to make progression a little more realistic, a little more historical. So we've got a couple armies here. We are at war already with the Crimean Khanate and the Ottoman Empire. I actually don't think you're at war with the Ottomans in vanilla, if I'm not mistaken, but you do start at war with them in Empire Realism. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this army, which has some Russian musketeers, as well as some Cossack infantry and dragoons. And I'm going to take him down. I'm going to get more troops to join this army. And then we'll go and attack the Crimean Khanate. Now we also have to work on our infrastructure. So I'm going to start upgrading my governor's buildings in a bunch of provinces. And I'm going to build basic roads in Muscovy so that we at least have roads going through the sort of center or part of our empire. Of course, Russia. In Empire Realism, even more so than vanilla, Russia starts out quite undeveloped. So we've got to develop a little bit. I'm going to send my rake down to Crimea. I haven't played Empire Realism in a while. But like I said, had to sort of break up these Rome Total War videos because it's good to mix things up a bit. Okay, so let's end the turn here. Imminent bankruptcy. It's okay. Now this mod, Empire Realism, it focuses mostly... Oh. Aggressor, Sweden, defender, Denmark. Let's enter war on the side of our ally. So this mod, Empire Realism, it is very much a... It's also a campaign-focused mod, but the battles are where things get really interesting. So one thing this mod does is that it really alters the morale system of battles. So actually, units don't have morale the way you think of it, right? Units now have unit cohesion. And this cohesion is what allows your units to stay on the battlefield, right? If your units lose cohesion, then they start to lose morale, and then they break and run, right? So how do you break cohesion? You break cohesion by... Oh, I forgot to research. I always do that. So you break cohesion by cavalry charges in the rear, getting units stuck in melee when they are already in a gunfight, getting units tired in long, drawn-out gunfights, flanking them causes them to lose cohesion quite quickly. So it's... But then also, units can gain cohesion pretty quickly. So if a unit routs, and it still has a significant number of troops, let's say, excuse me, let's say it's only lost a few troops, and it routed, right? Then it can come back to the battle pretty quickly, especially if it flees behind your lines and then the unit is able to reform, right? That's something that happens quite often in Empire Realism, also in Napoleon Realism. And I actually quite like it, because if you break an enemy's troops, but you can't pursue them, you can't push them to the edge of the battlefield, you can't drive them off, then they can come back to the battle, right? Ally attacked, aggressor Prussia. Let's enter war on side of ally. And I think that's a really nice mechanic. Now, you know, some players are not huge fans of... Ivan Mazepa, my general, died? A suspicious death. Oh, great. Well, let's get our other general down there, I guess. Okay, Crimean Khanate. They only have some irregular troops. Let's actually... Can we assassinate him? Assassination success. Very good, and that means they don't have that bodyguard unit anymore. So that's quite nice. Okay, so we are at war with Sweden. However, they have too many troops, and they have regular troops in St. Petersburg. So I don't have the forces to oust them. So you know what? I think I have to increase taxes. It's been a while here. So let's increase tax levels on the lower and middle classes. And I guess this will really improve our economy for now. Unfortunately, we have to increase taxes because I don't have enough money to build up. I have to build up. I have too much land and not enough troops. Okay, successful mission. That's good. Let's get our general to join the army, and then let's continue on to the Crimea. So Sweden, I wonder if we should... they have heavy cavalry. And I have dragoons. I was thinking of perhaps raiding that farm. I think I'll go get this artillery to join the army. Let's construct some farms in our less developed provinces. Okay, that should be fine. Do we have any other troops? No, we do not. Okay. So let's keep going. Nikolai Mizirov gains patron. That's nice. Oh, looks like we lost some troops. Probably because of the money issues we were having. So I'll replenish some of them before heading south. Okay, so our army up north here, I think we can raid. Let's raid. Okay, where's our rake here? Let's sabotage a building. Success. That's quite nice. Okay, so we're replenishing our musketeers, and that'll be pretty good. I think once we do that, we'll be able to go down south and take Crimea. So now with this army, let's go into Swedish territory, and let's raid their shipyard. Okay, so it's time to fight. They have a better army, but whatever. All right. So let's check out our troops here. All right, looking good. I think with the appropriate tactics, we'll be able to come out on top here. Okay, so let's put our artillery in a good position. Yeah, I think if we put them on the left, that'll be as good a position as any. The early artillery in Empire Realism is not the most effective, right? It's very slow, it's very inaccurate. It's mostly for show. But we're all about the show here. Okay. So we can actually deploy defenses. So let's deploy there. All right, and we've got our dragoons ready. Okay. And Empire Realism also utilizes the version of the Battlefield Smoke mod, I think a tweaked version. I was always a... Oh hey, he's reloading correctly. That's nice. I always liked the Empire environments. The battle maps. They feel very nice. Okay, so we've got the Swedish approaching. Units also move more slowly. I think they are quite similar to how quickly they move in the Rights of Man. Okay, since their cavalry is approaching from the right there, I'm going to reform my infantry. Guys, reform, please. Perhaps I'll get my guys into a square formation. If I can bait the enemy cav. Maybe they'll charge at my square formation. Are you guys not going to fire? Okay, enemy dragoons are closing in. Okay, there we go. Yep, they're charging my infantry. So I'll have my dragoons go around the back and flank them. Yeah, they charged from the front. That doesn't work, especially because my guys were firing. I gotta hit these guys quickly or else my guys are gonna rout. Oh, they routed. Again, these early Russian infantrymen are not the most effective. And these are heavy dragoons. I should have been more careful. Okay. Because I did flank those dragoons, I was able to get them. But as you can see, morale is extremely finicky in this mod. You have to be very careful about what you're doing. So I should have planned that out much better. I should have been quicker on the draw there. So let's hit these Swedish musketeers from the flank. They haven't quite flanked me as well as they should. Oh, this is not good. Ah, it's pikemen. Nope. That didn't work because I didn't have... Yeah, my infantry got shattered there, so unfortunately they won't be able to come back. Okay, we routed the pikemen. That's good. Ah, our guys are routing. Not good, not good. But as you can see, the realism mechanics are quite interesting. So if I played this a little better, if I was quicker in terms of flanking, I would have been able to successfully probably route their right flank here. And then had my infantry line hold better. Okay, so these guys are back. But I think we should just keep withdrawing. There's nothing left for us to do here. The faction infantries are also rebalanced, right? So Russia has... Oh, my captain died. Oh, well. So the Russian infantry, the early infantry, it has very low morale and is not very effective. It's not nearly as effective as, you know, Swedish early infantry, right? So then once you build up, once you reform your military, you get better line infantry. The flag is flapping away. Okay, so we lost 218 troops. So that was not so bad, really. Now, Empire Realism also sort of reduces the percentage of casualties in these battles, right? It's far more difficult in Empire Realism to actually inflict a decisive defeat on someone, right? So I think that's really good, because there are too many times when in Total War it's too easy to inflict a decisive defeat, right? So even in Rome 2, there are mods where you inflict a defeat and it's decisive, right? You destroy most of the enemy army, but then they're able to retrain an army very quickly, and that victory sort of loses its meaning. So in Empire Realism, Jam, the developer, has fixed that by reducing the likelihood of these decisive battles and also making it difficult to replenish losses, right? So I think that's very, very cool, because that is my problem with a lot of Rome 2 mods, for example, Attila mods, is that it's easy to inflict a decisive defeat, to wipe out an enemy army, 90%, 95%. But then they come back with another army. And that sort of takes you out of it, or at least for me. Okay, so our troops here... I wonder if we should focus on Sweden instead of taking Crimea, but I really want Crimea. Okay, I suppose I'll go north here. I totally mismanaged this beginning part. See, the other thing is that you don't just mindlessly click things and upgrade them in Empire Realism. It's you gotta pick and choose what you can do, and I think that's better. Plus 600 to wealth with this mine. I should have upgraded that immediately. What did I even do in that first turn? Okay, we upgraded the roads in Muscovy. So that's nice. We have some roads somewhere. Okay. So you know what? I'm going to take this army south next turn after replenishment. And I'm going to send this artillery to Muscovy. Because the early artillery is so slow, I need a more nimble army, especially against this army that is cavalry, this Crimean army. So let's do that. And then next episode, I'm glad to be doing another playthrough here. Next episode, we'll continue. We will try to beat back Sweden, and we'll try to take Crimea, and explain some more of the mechanics of Empire Realism. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoy content about the historical Total Wars and their mods, consider subscribing to the channel, consider liking the video, and I'll see you in the next one later.